When you have to prepare for the fact that your child is going to die, you'll go through a whole range of thoughts and feelings having to do with the time before and after your child's death. There are questions like how you can be there for your child as they're dying, what saying goodbye might look like, and how you can move on afterwards. This video is meant to serve as a small guide for you, to help you take a conscious look at the topics of saying goodbye and grief, so that you can find a way of coping that feels right for you. To do that, I'd like to offer you some specific questions and thoughts that can help you and your family gain more orientation and clarity. Emotionally, saying goodbye and grieving often can't really be separated from each other. And the grieving doesn't just begin after your child has passed away, it's probably been with you in one way or another for some time. So, let's talk about that first. Because grief can manifest in very different ways. Sometimes it's more quiet and turned inward. Other times it lashes out and is very loud. One moment, the pain might be what's most prominent, and in the next it might be anger or despair. Or you might feel empty inside, or feel nothing at all. And then there may also be times when the grief fades completely into the background. And one also has to understand that it's not uncommon for different family members to be at different points at the same time, like being in different time zones. And you'll probably get to know each other in a completely different way through your grief. And that's part of it too. All feelings and reactions are valid and they need their own time and space. And it's also quite important to respect that needs, and also the pace of processing things, can be very different. While one person might want to talk and share everything, the other might prefer to deal with it on their own. And sometimes that takes, it just takes a lot of patience and understanding. But ultimately, it can really help to explain to each other about what you need so that you can develop that understanding for one another. In that process, the question may also arise, how can we, as a family, even talk about the topic of death? Even if it's hard to find the right words, open communication usually helps. Many things become a little easier when we find the courage to be honest and share worries. Grief can feel like a strange planet you're suddenly thrown onto. And in that case, it can help to share your own fears and worries, to feel less alone and to be able to support each other. It's quite possible that your child will also come to you with questions about death and dying, or even surprise you with them. Questions you might not have an answer to, or at least not right away. If you're honest about it, your child will feel that their questions are taken seriously and that they can trust you. In this context, it can be very helpful to look inside yourselves and clarify some questions for yourselves. Yes, for example, this question, what is my own relationship with death, and what ideas do I have about dying myself? How have we talked about death in the family up to now? What experiences have you had with the topic so far, for example, the loss of a beloved relative or maybe just the loss of a pet? Did we maybe already use certain words or images back then that we can now build on in this situation, or perhaps ones we'd like to move past? This way, you can get and give some direction to what you want to discuss and how you want to act. Also, when you are being honest, children can often then deal much better with a possible "I don't know" or "I have to think about that too." And make use of support. The psychosocial team and pastoral care are also happy to support you in finding the language that's right for you and your child. For example, they also have tips for age-appropriate books or similar things that can help you with this. So, grieving and saying goodbye can sometimes also begin during life and not just with the final loss. This means these processes accompany you while you are still accompanying your child. And they can trigger very different emotions, from crying to anger to inner emptiness. These are all completely normal reactions that can help you cope with the situation. And they also allow you, to some extent, to be prepared for what's to come, namely the moment of farewell when your child dies. And we'll also take some extra time to talk about how you can shape this farewell and accompany your child as they're dying. We'll discuss it calmly in a separate video. It's also very important when you're grieving after your child's death to realize you are not alone. There are people around you who are there for you, who can be a professional support for you in this difficult time. So one task is also to be mindful of the little strength you might have and manage your energy well. And that works best when you accept and also allow for different kinds of help. And by that I mean also very practical help. Like when someone, for example, offers to go to the supermarket for you or to cook. But of course, I also mean the emotional support from relatives, friends, or other people who can bear with you when you can barely bear with yourselves. Who can share your silence or with whom you can talk. And one more thing, perhaps people in your life will be helpful in ways you might not have expected before. It may also be that they've experienced something similar themselves, and you don't have to explain a thing. And there are professional grief counselors who can support you as parents or siblings in this special, or rather, this particularly vulnerable state. Or grief support groups for adults, adolescents, or children, perhaps near you or online. And beyond that, there are also special rehabilitation programs for families who have lost a child. Either for you as a whole family or for the siblings. Some clinic teams also hold memorial ceremonies or services once a year for the relatives of deceased patients. Your treatment team can advise you on services in your area. Even after your child has passed away, they are still available to answer your questions. And if you still have questions from the time of the treatment, you can ask to speak with the medical staff. And even if you can't bring yourselves to think about it, and it seems unimaginable right now, it is possible to learn to live with this great loss. I know that from my own experience. When I lost my daughter to cancer, perhaps it can be compared to a path where you're wondering how you can possibly walk it, where you feel like you're stumbling because it feels as if the ground beneath you is shaking or giving way, and where you have to feel your way forward carefully at first, like putting one foot in front of the other. And with time, you will learn to take one step on this bumpy ground, and then another, and then another. You get a feel for what gives you stability and helps you move forward. And eventually, you'll notice that your steps are slowly becoming more secure and steady again. And over time, you will come to see which feelings are at the forefront of your grief or which ones emerge. It's about learning to live with the death of your child. Something that surely seems unimaginable to you right now, but even if a pain remains, it is possible to be okay again one day, and that, presumably, would also be your child's wish.